All right, assignment 3, part 3. I suggest for this video, and you'll hear this a few times, whenever you raise a number to a power, use parentheses. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't, but I don't want you getting wrong answers. I don't want you getting hung up. So I suggest that whenever you raise a number to a power, put it in parentheses. Okay. Your calculator without parentheses, that will be fine. The negative is the big one, because -3 times -3 is +9. In your calculator, this is not correct, so I'm just put this in red. If you do this in your calculator, the calculator reads it as -1 times 3 squared. So this is correct, but it's not what we want to do. So your calculator will tell you -9. So if you plug this in your calculator without parentheses, it will give you the wrong answer. That's very important for this lesson. So technically you need the negative in parentheses. I just suggest if you're unsure, whenever you're raising to a power, always put it in parentheses. Okay? So here we go. We're just going to evaluate some functions today. So here's two functions. We'll call this the red function f of x and the blue function here g of x. So they want you to find f of 5, so that matches with the red, and g of 4, which matches with the blue. All right, and you can do this in your head or put it in your calculator. So the 5 is going in for x. So f of 5, put 5 in for all x's. Now I know here there's only one, but there could be more. So we'll call this part A. We'll call this part B. So part A, we're going to do f of 5, and you don't have to write out that formal, is -5 times 5 plus 4. So I put the 5 in for the x. So that's -25 plus 4. You should get -21. And if you want to use a calculator, that is fine. Okay. Part B, g of 4. We're going to look at the function g, and we're going to put 4 in for x. Just type it exactly as you see it. And I like using parentheses. This one doesn't, like I said, doesn't matter. Even that one, you could have done -5 times 5 plus 4. This one doesn't matter, but when in doubt, use parentheses. So this is 4 squared is 16. 16 times -4 is -64. And then we have -3, which is -67. Okay. So we get a -67. That was a little harder to do in your head. All right. So we're just plugging in. That means that's what evaluating functions means. You're plugging in a value to figure out what the function's value is at that x value at that point. All right. And here's one more. If you want to pause it and try it, go ahead. I'm going to continue on. So look, this goes with this because that's the f and f. This goes with that. So part A, we're going to get -3 times -3 cubed minus 2. So -3 cubed is -27 times -3 is 81. 81 minus 2, 79. So you should get 79. And for part B, we're plugging 4 into x. -3 times 4 plus 4. That's negative 12 plus 4. That's negative 8 is your final answer. And you can use your calculator. I was just doing this out, piece by piece. Okay. So evaluating a rational function. So simplify your answer as much as possible. If applicable, click undefined. So undefined is whenever we get a number over 0, because you cannot divide by 0. That gives you an error. Okay, so h of x. So h of 7, we're just plugging 7 in for both x's. Wherever you see an x, you plug in your 7. So 7 minus 12 over 4 times 7 plus 2. Now do the top and bottom separately because they don't want a decimal here. They want a fraction. So we get negative 5. 7 minus 12, negative 5. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 2 is 30. And that simplifies to negative 1 over 6. The negative can go in front. It can go on top. It doesn't matter. Just make sure it's clear, like when you write it out like a test. Okay, so negative 1/6. That reduces, 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 36 times. A lot of calculators, if you type this in, it'll give you this fraction. All right, one more. So this is number 2. I didn't number the first one. So g of 2. So we're just going to plug in for x. 2 minus 14 over 4 times 2 minus 8. So we get 2 minus 14, negative 12 over 8 minus 8 is 0. Okay, when you divide by 0, that's your undefined. Okay, that's your undefined there. Okay. All right, once again, when you plug in, if you use parentheses, you should be good. So the first one, f of 6. We're going to look at our f function and plug in 6. Now remember, these are absolute value symbols. A lot of calculators have them, have that like in a menu. The TI graphing calculators, it's math. Under there, you'll see ABS. That's absolute value. So negative 2, absolute value of 6 minus 8. Okay. I'm just going to do the workout. You could jump right to the answer. You could use a calculator. So the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. You don't have to show me this workout. I'm just going piece by piece. So you should get negative 4. Okay, so these are the absolute value symbols. B, g of negative 4. So we're going to take our g function, which is right here, and plug in negative 4. Okay, for your calculator not to lie to you, you got to put that in parentheses. Same thing with the bottom. Okay, so we get, if you do the top out right, 2 minus 4 times negative 4 squared. You should get negative 62 over 16. And I'm going to let the calculator simplify this one. I know 2 definitely goes into there. Yep, just 2 goes into there. So if you break both these down by 2, negative 31 over 8. Okay, so make sure you're do the top first, do the bottom, then you can figure out the fraction. I mean, if you're really good with a calculator, there are other options. You could put this all in at once, especially if you have a fraction button or your calculator allows you to type fractions. You could shortcut it a little bit, and which is fine, as long as you get the right answer. And the last one, it's 5. Okay. H of 5 equals -5 plus the square root of 5 minus 3, which is negative 5 plus the square root of 2. And there's nothing we can do there, so we're all set. Alex will have, the square root, the option to type the square root in there. Okay. So I plugged in 5 for x, negative 5 plus the square root of 5 minus 3. You can't combine these. This is outside the square root. This is inside. Don't combine those. Okay, now we're going to put in variables, and this gets a little more difficult. So instead of substituting in a number, we're going to substitute in an expression. This is a monomial. All right, so we're going to f of 4x is going to equal 2 times 4x all squared minus 3. Now, here you have to know what you're doing because the calculator won't do x squared. It'll do 4 squared and won't do x squared. So I'm going to break this down in pieces. So 2 times, all right, we're going to square both of these. So I'm going to go 4 squared because there's a 1 here and a 1 here. And the rule is x of a to the b power to a power is x to the a times b. All right, so there's a 1 there. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So I'm going to get 4 squared, which is 16x squared, and then the minus 3. 2 times 16x squared is 32x squared minus 3. And that's all you can do because those two pieces are not like terms. If they're not like terms, you can't combine them. You can't simplify them. Okay, and here's another one. If you want to try this one, pause it, go ahead. So that last problem here was 1 under there. This we're looking at 2. All right, I'm going to continue on with the video. So we're going to put in 4y for x. 5 plus 2 times 4y and 6 plus 4y. You don't really need parentheses there because you're not doing anything to it. So we get 5 plus 8y over 6 plus 4y. Okay. And now, because of pluses and minuses, you're not allowed to simplify up and down. So don't do 8 divided by 4 is 2. You can't do that. That's illegal. I'm guessing for these problems, you probably won't be able to simplify. In this one, you cannot simplify. So we are done. Just make sure you cannot do 5 divided by 6. You cannot do 8 divided by 4. My rule for my students is you can never break up a denominator. You can never break up the bottoms. I can't do 8 divided by 4. That's illegal math. Okay. And that concludes this video.